Just like we do as society.
YouTube, that's right, man. Like Black Mirror all day long. Dang, 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 dang.
I've never seen that series.
Oh, you gotta check it out. It'll come around.
I've never seen that series. It's always, I feel like I've done acid before, and every time I see that show, it's like an acid trip, and I don't want to relive like those horrible nightmares again, like that.
There are no horrible nightmares. These are new.
Plus, I was kind of disappointed.
Demented.
Like, when I thought it said Black Mirror, I thought it was like a social justice like documentary, some shit like that. But then when I looked on there, I said it's like white people assimilating. Oh, never mind. Like, that's it. Never mind.
Assimilating.
It was just white people assimilating.
I enjoy stuff like that, though, from a historic standpoint. I get into all the philosophy of what's going on with new technology. I'm kind of a dork about that stuff.
I feel you. Basically, like, just like that whole psychedelic. It's sci-fi, but it's still relevant to what's going on today.
Right.
I feel you. Dude, like, that's how I felt about the Terminator for a long time.
Really?
Yes. I feel like we were putting way too much efforts into AI.
Yeah.
And that eventually it would lead into the Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator, and he would destroy us all.
Well,
and I feel like it's still working. Look at him. He's coming over Cali now.
Yeah,
they're in a drought now.
He'd be president if
Trump didn't already do it.
If it weren't for the rules.
Yeah,
and whatnot.
If he didn't have that, that maid baby, then he would have been president by now.
They would have found a way around.
He would have. He must have the maid's baby. Second, that Skynet to destroy us all.
Okay, so let's back up for a second before we get too far into the Governor.
Okay.
Let's pause it knuckle deep.
Okay, all right.
And for all of my friends who don't know you, local stand-up comedian here in Mobile. That's how I met you.
Yeah.
And do you live here in Mobile? And how long have you been doing comedy?
I actually live here in Mobile, and I think I've been doing comedy for about 1.5 years now.
Dude.
Yeah.
I would have put you way closer to like 3 or 5.
Really? Oh my God. Dude, that's such a huge compliment. Like, I swear, I try to learn basically from each set that I have, and I've built like such good techniques off of it.
Man.
Like, I literally learn from watching other people. Like, from basically Alfred Ward really helped me out.
Yeah.
And Bill Goodman, Carson Taylor, like all the Mobile comics that you had on. I've been watching them do it for like 1.5 years, and like each of them give me like little tidbits of advice. Yeah. Like, I know Alfred was the main one who was like, all right, listen, man. Listen, man. You don't hold your mouth up to that fucking microphone so nobody can hear you. Like, he basically taught me like all the basics. So, yeah, I just like to contribute it to all the comics that I hang around, especially like Lindsay Vereen and Ben Fry, like everybody. I learned something from everybody, even from you.
The community, man. I feel the same way because I've learned from watching your set, just the way that I enjoy seeing people who do themselves well. Like when people find a way to do original, which I think that's what makes comedy really exceptional.
Yeah. Like that's mainly what I tried to do. It's like I found that whenever I do material that comes from like way in the gut, to where it's that feeling of, oh shit, should I do this or should I not do this? This is a little personal. I don't know about that. That's why I figured out that's the funniest one to do.
Right.
Because people relate to that, and they relate to that feeling of, oh, I'm just like this asshole. Like, and people like it.
Honest and genuine, man. Like, that's what I've been thinking about all week long.
Yeah.
Being honest and genuine.
Like, I know for like the first... Like, it's only been like half a year I believe I've really started to come into my own. Mm-hmm. Because for that first year, I was trying so hard with the technique and like learning from different people that I started to sound like other people, and like subconsciously I know my favorite comics are like Louis C.K., Bernie Mac, Eddie Griffin, Lisa Lampanelli, and I know John Mulaney and Pete Holmes. I sounded like all of them combined together, like whenever I would do different material, because I would always write it with their voice in my head. Yeah. Instead of doing it like from my voice in my head, and like basically getting the material you're writing.
I don't think that's uncommon, though. I think everybody starts out as a cover band. Like, even Hunter S. Thompson sat down and typed out like The Great Gatsby, just because he wanted to know what it felt like to type that rhythm. So on some level, because I can identify with the same thing. I used to memorize Carlin's bits and Gallagher's bits.
George.
And,
George is freaking hilarious.
Of course, the philosopher king of his time.
Yeah.
No doubt. Wrote some incredible material. But I can remember there was a Gallagher bit where he did this huge wordplay thing where he goes through mustache and tunes and bombs.
Yeah.
And even then, knowing nothing about comedy, I still had an appreciation for it. And I still learn through them.
When you watch a legend do it, it's almost as if they're just talking to you.
Yeah.
Like they're not even like you don't even look at it as they're performing in front of thousands or millions of people. They're speaking directly at you, and you feel like it's you. That's why I really loved Eddie. Like Eddie was just Eddie, and that was it. He didn't give no shits. Like Eddie and Patrice O'Neal were probably like my two biggest influences.
Patrice, man,
I just loved his
the juggernaut.
Just his God-given honesty and like how brutal. Like the bit that really drove me into comedy was his bit with the chicken wing lady.
I don't remember that one.
There was a bit like on his unreleased CD, that his wife did. His girlfriend did. Yeah. That he got into it with this lady at the club who was eating chicken wings, and he said, "Listen, I don't fear black bitch rage." Like, him and the lady started getting into it, and he was just yelling at her. And then he said, y'all looking at this like we're arguing. Believe it or not, this is how I end up fucking people most of the time. This is how I get it. He said, "This is how I get it. I just walk up to like females and go like, oh, so you couldn't try today, bitch?" And then she said, "What did you say to me?" "I know you didn't say to me, look, I'm sorry, you're beautiful. I didn't know how to approach you." And then
that's a great game plan, though. You just go and you throw a pile to step in, and then you're like, let's clean this up together, and they got something in common.
Let's clean this up.
I like that. That's a good move.
Yeah, man.
Patrice is a fucking genius, though.
Patrice, man. He was ahead of his time.
No doubt. And I can remember that was one of the things that I ran around being excited about. It was kind of one of the fourth wall, pull the curtain backs when I first started really learning to be funny on demand, like to stand up and tell jokes and try and write jokes, was the extent to which it is not extemporaneous.
Yeah.
Like, I can get up and I can talk off the cuff on myriad of subjects.
Yeah.
I cannot get up and be funny on demand without pulling out material. Like, it's a whole different thing, and I had no idea. Like, I had no idea. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's like at first, when you first start out, you're thinking, okay, I'm just going to write like 2 or 3 jokes.
Thankfully, I knew better than to... No, I came in like well prepared. I was like, all right, I got this. Because I had enjoyed comedy for so long, I knew that there was a little more to it.
Yeah.
But I just
followed up the approach of just be naturally fun, because that's what I always was. Like even in conversation, like I'm always the one that's like trying to be engaging and trying to find like what type of sense of humor the person has.
No.
And I thought you could do that, like just get on stage and just ask questions and shit. The first thing I learned, never ask the crowd a fucking question.
No.
Because these idiots will go crazy.
God knows what you get.
You just, literally, I walked on stage, like, I think the second time I walked on stage, I said, oh, crap, I forgot my material. What do you guys want to talk about? And then one dude yelled, abortions. What the fuck?
Good luck.
Who wants to do this? It's like...
Then they just want to abuse you.
They're like, oh, this asshole thinks he can live his dream? No.
Watch this.
Let's throw a wrench in this.
Watch what we can do.
Let's throw a wrench in this. Oh, my God.
So how do you approach rehearsal versus repetition? The reason I ask is because I sometimes will just get on stage and do the experiment of... I'm not going to rely on material. The goal is to figure out how to be comfortable enough on stage to get into my stream of consciousness that I write jokes from. And so, like, not necessarily like I'm going to make that happen on stage, but I'm getting on stage trying to pay attention and learn to that moment. Okay. And that's kind of how I approach learning, is I set up these experiments to try and glean something from it. What does it look like for you to how do you take advantage of your time of repetition or rehearsal or whatever you call it?
Okay, basically, one thing I do, I record myself. And I just, let's say I have the iPhone, right? I just do the voice memos thing. And the first thing that I listen for is, when I label the recording, the first thing I do is label how many people are in the crowd. And basically I listen and I play it like a numbers game. Like, in this joke, how many people out of this crowd of 20 did I make laugh?
Interesting.
And if it's more than 50%, then I keep it and I toy with it and I try to make it go over at least 70 to 80% to where it's funny. Like, that's basically how I do it. Plus, when I first write a joke, I only write the premise and I riffed about it on stage. And then once, because I kind of remember everything I say whenever I riffed it, but then when I write it, it's set in stone in my brain. Like, I just riffed on it first, and then whatever parts were funny, I pick those out and I keep it. And if I need to extend it and I feel like I can make it longer, then I just toy around with it with the crowd. And, you know, I just make sure that I stick to the rule. If it doesn't make 70% of the room laugh, then I'm not going to keep it.
I need to get better about that, apparently. I haven't ever thought in terms of statistics and ratios about jokes, but I was involved in a conversation again recently about jokes per second. Does that weigh into your...
Not really, because it's not my style. Like, I'm not... Like,
I think I'm like you in that regard.
I feel like I've realized something about myself doing comedy for at least a year, is that I'm not good at pun-based humor.
Yeah.
I'm not very good. Like, I could do the setup, but I'm not good at writing the pun. That was the messed up thing about me. Like I feel like my puns aren't just like one-word puns. I feel like mine are more evaluations and like more like you find the funny in the points of it.
Yeah, me too. I've been reevaluating, like my life stories and trying to figure out what about them is funny and where the punchline is, and that gets really, really weird because how do you? You're not going to change the real life story, and so how do you go in and find the pun? And so I've just been repeating them over and over and over about it.
And like it's like I found out like it was way harder for me to write stories that were about me and my family than it was for me to just write a basic jokes with the setup and the punch and the lifeline or whatever. Like I know. The first thing I did when I first tried to learn how to write a joke was just go on YouTube, and the first thing that popped up was Jerry Seinfeld, like how to write jokes.
Nice.
How to write jokes, but I didn't look at it from the point of view of, if anything, I'm a black comic. Like I can't help. I'm a black
comic. You don't
comic.
say.
I can't just write it like Jerry fucking Seinfeld and think it's gonna work. Like, oh, mashed potatoes. What's this big black nigga talking about mashed potatoes? Like, I can't do that. I had to basically learn how to write with my own flavor to it.
Yeah. That authentic voice.
Yeah, like that authenticity. Voice. And then I looked at a couple of Patrice O'Neal interviews where he basically said he doesn't write any of his fucking material. And I said, like, okay, his strength was his authenticity and the way he was able to just be funny on demand. Jerry Seinfeld's was preparation and how he was able to basically come up with a good system in which he could consistently write day to day to day to day. And the one thing that I found with people is that within repetition is where you find your genius.
Yeah.
So I tried to do a melding of the two in which I just write the premise, like Patrice O'Neal, like Richard Pryor. But then after I rip, I record and I try to keep down like the exact funny points of it, like Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah, I think of it as that repetition. Just to really dig into this, that repetition gives you the infinite possibilities that you could plug into a scenario, like through the multitude of contexts. Or you've organically grown all the variations of this that you could come up with, or as many of them as you care to carry around. And then in any given context, you got the right one every time.
Yeah, it's like you're playing. It's literally like you're playing poker with with the crowd.
Yeah.
Like, you literally have to have your aces. That way you can fucking, okay, y'all ain't feeling me? I know this one's an ace.
Here's
in
the
hole,
call, here's the raise, here's
Yeah.
the boom!
Bam, motherfucker. It's
Pot
nigger
check.
baby. Bam!
Pop check! Those are some of the best, though, and I'm learning to get better at finding the stuff that really makes me giggle before I say it. Like, the stuff that, and I don't remember exactly where I heard it, but somebody said, find the things that make you, that you know, make you want to share and make you laugh, knowing that you're going to say it.
Yeah.
And then that's the punchline.
Yeah.
And that's kind of been my marker lately, is finding the stuff that, because there's nothing funnier for me. Those are some of the best moments in watching comedy, is watching comedians crack themselves up on stage.
Yeah, that's like so fun.
The best.
Even if they didn't make the crowd laugh,
Oh, it
just
doesn't matter.
the fact that they love it makes you laugh.
Oh, it's the
because especially when you're a comic and you have that feeling, like, you know, like that. Like, back when I first started, I had this joke where I worked at the fresh market. I remember a baby called me a nigger, and that was one of those jokes where 80% of the crowd either would laugh or 0% would laugh.
Right.
When the 0% wouldn't laugh, it would just make me burst into laugh. It would just make me burst into tears because every time it was just a sea of white faces that wouldn't fucking I would go, fuck that. I don't care if none of you like it. I love it.
We're not allowed.
Oh, no, we're not.
Damn.
Don't do it. No. Every time I did it in front of a black crowd, they would burst out laughing.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, my God.
I wonder what I would be. I would definitely laugh, but I can empathize with confused people.
Yeah.
Especially growing up in Mobile, and that's why when I hear people talk about their, you know, people that don't understand how visceral and real the problem of racism is in America, it's like, I grew up in Mobile, Alabama. Like, you have no idea what you're talking about.
You have no clue. When I hear some social SJW when I hear some fucking snowflake come up to me and it says, I don't see what the problem is. I just don't see color. I just look at you and I say, then what color is your shirt, you dipshit? Like, what?
It's such a
like,
lie.
how do you not see the institutional racism, like, in this country? I love my cousin to death. I love my cousin to death. But he had this guy come up with him, like, during Mardi Gras. Mm-hmm. He brought a bunch of his friends to show his friends, like, you know, like, what Mardi Gras is all about, and, like, how it started in Mobile. And one of his friends, he said, I don't know if he was drunk, I don't know if he's just a dipshit. He said, well, the first thing about you need to know, man, I don't think racism's real.
Oh, God.
And I said, oh, then you must think Martin Luther King isn't real. What were we fighting for then?
Yeah, none of that ever happened.
Oh, so we just felt like not peeing in the shit toilet. What is that? Like, I just don't get. I feel like it's just the spread of ignorance.
Yeah, it ties into a question I've been talking about for a couple of days now, which I guess it started on Thursday.
Yeah,
was contemplating the question of social norms and self-regulation. You know, the do as I say, not as I do. We want there to be norms. We want there to be a status quo.
Yeah.
And we want these norms to be enforced. But we don't want them to apply to us.
True.
So, and that plays into people just not being able to accept the reality, or just...
To me, if you can't comprehend the fact that there's somebody else different than you that's having a different experience in life than you, you are a dipshit.
Like, how
I'm sorry.
How has it gotten that far? I had a conversation with a lady last night who tried to start in on the feelings thing. You know, people are too concerned about their feelings. And it's like, well, okay, you say that from a place of feeling, so you don't know, like, it's a non-starter that you don't know what you're talking about. Like,
your base here is coming from feelings.
Right, it's kind of how you exist.
That's like trying to plant a tree. That's like trying to plant a tree, and you say, that's going to be a good tree, but you use quicksand as the dirt.
Right,
like, that's not...
right. And plants love electrolytes.
Exactly.
Feed it some Gatorade.
Exactly. Oh, God, that's how Idiocracy fucking started.
Hey, we are there, man. We are there.
I think we're already there.
But that ties, so to go real big picture, And if you don't want to discuss politics, we don't have to. But from
dude, no, I'm totally into politics.
So this whole teenage kids movement thing, I think it's way bigger than gun control. And I think one of the things that's happening right now is the point of the spear has been coalesced against an actual enemy, which is an enemy that can be replicated over and over and over again. So the youth has gone against this whole, we want to be safe in our schools. We've gone after gun control, but then the NRA made the mistake of being the corporate entity that stood up. And so now we have teenagers versus corporations. And that gets fun in 20 years.
It really does.
So that's kind of my big picture take on all that crap. You're going to see
all those NRA ads before every Disney movie.
It's going to be weird. It's going to get interesting. Because it's...
Twilight New Moon, sponsored by the NRA.
Sponsored by Mossberg.
I'm protecting my kids from them vampires.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons that I think we're going to get past this gun thing real quick, because it's way... The bigger win is not the gun control, and I don't think these high school kids
understand that.
Well, and they don't have any interest in guns. Like, they're way after corporations, I think, at this point. I'm hoping that's where we're going to go. What are your thoughts on all that?
In terms of the teenagers going up against the corporations?
No, just on what do you see happening?
What I'm
like,
seeing
what level do you watch it on?
What I'm seeing is white kids are actually wising up more than their fucking parents. Because... For me, as a black dude in this country, I don't see shit ever get done unless it affects a white person. Like, that's
so sad.
That's how I feel. Shit doesn't happen unless it affects a white person. Or unless a white person brings it to light. Because keep it real, to keep it G, like, if you really look at this is a white man's nation. It really is. Like, if you look at the different races, the different ethnicities that we have here, white people outnumber us like 10 to 1. So for real, what I really see is teenagers are finally fed up with this whole. They're finally fed up with the bullshit. Like,
I think so.
A lot of people see this as, this is a gun control. This is in terms of gun control. Why hasn't our parents done this? Why are people against this? It's because people get tired of corporate bullshit.
Yeah, and this goes back to the do as I say, not as I do. We want there to be norms, they just don't want to apply to us, and now all these kids are like...
Did you see the video of that guy who basically during like this giant PTA meeting, like he brought like a Swiss Army knife. He said, "This is a knife. What are you going to do to me now?" And even though like all of the teenagers in there were like, "That's not right. You pulled a knife on a teenager." You completely missed the point.
Oh, yeah, that little girl freaked out on him, and
You completely missed the point. Mm-hmm. This man is able to bring a weapon into your school easily.
Yeah.
Easily. For me, I feel like if you really want to get rid of this entire situation, there's only three real solutions to this. Get rid of the influences that the NRA can have on the U.S. government. Because that's where it all trickles the fuck down from.
Yep.
2, do not arm teachers. Have a security guard. You have teachers fighting teenagers already.
Have you met teachers?
Do you want to get them guns? Really?
The least paid people in the country that have to deal with the biggest assholes on a daily basis.
Exactly.
Do not give them guns.
You think training Miss Libidowisk for like 2 weeks on how to use a Mossberg is gonna save anyone?
Oh,
she's gonna shoot the brownest thing she fucking sees.
It'll be bad. It'll be bad.
Like the third answer is trying to enforce more socially aware and conscious classes into our educational system. The real problem that I see with the entire thing with school shootings are the social norms that are allowed, like, in schools.
Yeah.
They basically teach you to corner the weird kid and completely demolish him. And as history has shown, when you corner a white boy, ain't nothing good gonna come out of that shit. So you're gonna...
Oh, man.
Whenever I see a school shooting, I'm like, okay, this is just history all over. Or a mass shooting. When you find out that the dude who was shooting everybody up was also a weird kid that got picked on in fucking high school.
Yeah. I wonder about the. I wonder about how that's going to play out more and more, because it's already starting to come into question how the terminology that's getting thrown on these white kids that are perpetrating these crimes versus
they're just troubled youth.
Right,
they're just troubled youth.
It's
when
so
any
unbalanced.
other race is just a fucking terrorist.
Right?
Really?
They don't even pull the punch.
Really?
But they're so reticent to come clean and just call a spade and say, this kid is a terrorist. Like, anybody wielding a firearm through high school is a terrorist. So how do they not go there?
They will not go there, and they will not do it.
That's what I don't understand.
If there's anything that the United States is going to do, is going to protect this little white ass from ever getting persecuted for anything bad going on.
And I think that's where these high school kids are like, we've had enough of this shit.
Yeah.
Like, what is the rule? What is the standard?
You have to really call it like it is. Like, you know that guy that went into the church and shot up that black
right, and those people chased him.
Yeah. They chased him. And they fed him Burger King after they caught him.
I remember that.
They fed him fucking Burger King.
Yeah.
The police, you know what? I've been stopped fucking with the police. But after they did that, no. Let me tell you something, man. I stopped fucking with the police when I was 10 years old.
Oh, what happened?
And the cops saw me getting chased by a dog and didn't do a goddamn thing about it. Saw my little chubby ass running from a dog.
What?
Exactly.
And he just
sat there just laughing.
No. Rule number 1, don't be a dick.
That's when I just automatically said, cops ain't got my interest at heart. Fuck them all. What?
I wonder about that when I see these cops driving past people broken down on the interstate. Like, my
taxes ain't paying for you, huh? Like, that's what.
Andy Griffith would not.
No, never. Plus, after I learned the history of where sheriffs and the police department came from, oh, dear Jesus Christ.
It's all part of the institution.
Do you know how it came to be?
Framework. I know the marshals are part of the paper-hanging Secret Service going after money launderers on a federal level, but the sheriffs were kind of like the lords, if you take the English analogy. The sheriffs were the lords, and they administered some form of civil something or other, and constables, cops, are just fucking nothing. Like, have very, very little authority. That's my rudimentary understanding. Please elaborate.
For black people, cops, if you really want to look into the history of sheriffs and most cops in most counties, then look into their historical lore when it comes to the slavery era. Because back during the 1400s, 1500s, sheriffs were only implemented when it came into the, I don't want to say wrangling, but they came into effect whenever you wanted to say, go find a slave, or go get a slave. They're basically the dogs of the slave owners. And that was in the South. I don't know about everywhere else, but in the South, cops did not uphold justice. They were not for the people. They were only for the rich and for the white man that owned land. So if you want to take that and use that for the public, you already have a base of bullshit.
Of course. Yeah. A friend of mine educates me on this stuff all the time, and it goes directly to claim law. Like, there has to be a complainant, and if you are not a full and proper citizen, then you have no right to make a claim, which means a constable would never, doesn't care one about what you got to say.
Don't care either or what the fuck you got to say.
Like, you are way down the list.
Who are the main ones that didn't have a goddamn thing?
Yes. There were plenty. That's one of the big shams, though, that there. And how all the poor white people got sold on the fact that they were somehow better than the black poor people just blows my mind.
Like, manipulation of ignorance. Man.
Yeah, there's a guy named Thomas Weiss. If anybody wants to go hear some really interesting perspective on race historically, like, he takes the hardcore side of, this is all a big sham to divide and conquer, that we've been sold a whole bunch of crap.
It really is. if anything, I feel like the true problem in the United States isn't racism. It's Marxism.
Yeah,
If you really want to look at it. It's the fact that too much money and too much power are given to the rich and the wealthy. And the laws that are being implemented help them but hinder us. And you see that whenever we do start to begin to address that issue, some new bullshit about race or some new bullshit about gun laws or gun control, that's distraction. Like, you give you a small issue, that way it distracts you from the bigger issue. And they're able to do this and implement this through the miseducation.
Comes back to education.
It all starts, like, for me, it all really starts at your educational system. Some of the best countries in the world, like such as, I would say, Japan, Denmark, and Finland. Those are the top three for me whenever it comes to education, because they take a free form and thinking approach, because they put their children ahead of everything else and they invest in them because they're an asset.
I agree with that. I wonder how little or how we have disenfranchised the asset of the wisdom of the aged, and how maybe we have disenfranchised them a little bit too. I don't disagree enough to say that we shouldn't consider children an asset, but I think that those are two very similar things. And I was talking earlier with someone about education on how we could get to a better education platform where everyone has access to education. My idea includes kind of a free form included in the Parks and Protections Act.
Yeah.
What does your solution for that look like?
For me, it's funding and underpaying. Like, if you really look at it, if you look at a public school, which are predominantly black, they're extremely underfunded, the teachers are underpaid, nobody wants to be there. You look at private schools, they're completely funded, predominantly white, and they have the best technology and everybody wants to be there. So what are you going to do when you have 80% of a school that doesn't want to be there, that are misinformed, and are basically projected into being miseducated, while you have these other people that are educated and told that these people are dipshits?
Which is ridiculous, because then if you look at the numbers that test out over Ivy League schools versus everybody else, the top 400 candidates or the top 400 test results never come from the Ivy League schools.
Nope.
So, well, who's paying for what?
That's the sad thing about it, is because these private schools were completely based off of, like, here goes the thing for me. It was based off of racism to keep white kids educated and keep them informed, and black people basically having to form their own schools and having to do their own thing, public schools, while being underfunded. Once the government caught wind of this, they used the racism to divide and conquer.
Yeah.
That's what I truly believe. Like, if you really want to look at how things are, it's always because people are divided and are opposing each other over an issue such as racism that can easily be resolved with education.
Yeah. It's so, and it works so easily, and it's so sad.
The answer is simple and it's easy, except that basically we've been fattened up and stupefied by corporate. Like, for me, that's just the thing. We're the most obese country, dude. We've let corporations take over everything. Everything.
For dollars that have no value.
I believe America's already sold its soul.
Like, a long time ago.
It's long ago.
I think that happened about 30 years ago. At the very least, the first nail in the coffin was the personhood of corporations in the 90s. Like, that was the beginning of the end. Like, you can't let a corporation have the rights of an individual. That's just the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
After you can let corporations come up with holidays in fucking America, that's how you know we are.
No, the corporations have taken over. We have corporate religions.
Oh, dude.
We have corporations that are religions, and some of them that don't even claim to be, like fucking Apple. Like,
to me, Apple's one of the most
Mac and PC. They're all over the place.
Literally the same software with different skins on them.
I don't know enough about it to get into it. I know I had less problems with my Mac than with my PC, but I'm watching a lot less porn now. So. That might have something to do with it.
Oh, dear God. Because you don't want to ruin that $500 laptop. That's the only reason why. Don't blame that because you're a cheap fuck. That's why. Oh my God, dude. Yeah, but we mostly let different corporations take control of different aspects of our day-to-day lives. That's when we really lost it.
Turn on some air conditioning. I keep listening to that air conditioning and not having air conditioning.
It weirds you out.
And I'm making an executive decision.
Yeah.
I feel like we'll have more viewers if we have air conditioning.
Boss move.
Not at all. We're just. I would put this over here, but I don't want it in your way. We have.
Yeah, dude, it's cool.
We have eclipsed the half-hour mark, which Facebook can never hang as long as. My stamina is just too good for Facebook.
It is. It really is.
Way too good.
Yeah.
But I try and keep an eye on the comments because they'll come up from time to time. So if anybody chimes in. A lot of people hear these things on the replay, and I forget why I was going to mention that. But, because I pressed the button thing, and that's usually my cue to talk about plugs and getting in touch with all the stuff that you do.
Yeah.
What else besides stand-up comedy? I mean, today is a Sunday. Sunday's in Mobile. Me and Mary Widow open mic. So we're hanging out before that happens. But if people want to catch up and see you do the do.
Oh, follow me on Facebook. I upload videos about my comedy all the time. Yeah, Gavin Randall.
I have not seen any of your videos.
Really?
I gotta go looking. No, they're on your Facebook page?
But that was like in the beginning when I first started.
Oh, I gotta go looking. Okay. Oh, I thought you were talking about yesterday.
I made an oath to myself when I first started. Like for the first 2 years that I do comedy, I'm going to strictly work on me and work on my material.
Mm-hmm.
That way, when I actually do start recording myself, I'm like leagues ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've already taken so many notes and so many videos of myself. Right now, I'm just trying to edit them all together and like basically come up with not videos of just like I've seen too many comics just put videos of themselves up doing like 5 minutes and they're only getting like 2 or 3 giggles. I want to put videos of myself up there when I'm getting like 15, just crushing the crowd.
Right.
But mainly I've been working like, even though I am a comic, I feel like I really want to get into the animation game.
Really?
Yeah, I really do. I have really big ideas whenever it comes to animation or short film.
I feel like you should be talking to Joey Livingston right now.
Yes, like dude, I actually came up. This is copyrighted, by the way, so don't you fucker steal this. I came up. I've been writing this script. I already got a season and a half down.
Sweet. Don't get too much of a way. This does go to iTunes. I don't want anybody.
It's called it's a cartoon called Under the Anthill. That's all I'm gonna tell you.
Oh, there you go. That's your
Under
teaser. That's your trailer.
That's my little teaser.
Teaser.
It's called Under the Anthill. I already got a season and a half down, and basically it's just a deep and depth look of how human society affects not only just me and you as human beings, but affects the entire planet. And it's told through the point of view of ants.
I like this. I've been pondering children's books.
This is not children. This is not for children at all.
Oh, this is like Big Mouth. God.
Yeah, imagine Big Mouth mixed with Rick and Morty mixed with regular show.
Dude, Rick and Morty haven't tearing that shit up lately.
Yeah.
I am loving it.
Yeah, there's a lot of existential crisis within there. There's a lot of existential crisis. And, like, the first episode is literally about them discovering that humans exist and finding sexuality throughout that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm in. That sounds fun.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds real fun.
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm looking for voice actors right now, too.
Hello.
Yeah, no, dude, don't worry. I got you.
I
already got you. Got you.
Good. Excellent.
But I've been talking to Joey. I've mainly been trying to get, just get really cool Joey. That way, he can maybe guide me in the direction that I want to take it. Because that's the first material that I want out whenever, I really made that transition into really putting myself out there. Like, right now, I've just been practicing and just trying to get my reps down and really at least getting a nugget of what I am together. Because I was just all over the fucking place in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, and that was after I filmed myself, and I really looked, and I said, I don't want to put this out there because, not because it's not that I don't believe in myself or I don't believe that it's funny. I feel like it's just not me.
Yeah. Just doesn't feel genuine.
Just doesn't feel genuine enough. And I see too many comics that fuck themselves over that way.
Yeah.
Like they say, hey, take a look at my video. Hey, take a look at this. You literally almost just copied the Eddie Griffin bit verbatim, and you're lucky you're not being fucking. You lucky you don't have to pay dues to this nigga. Like you're lucky.
Self-editing is one of the things that I wish people would do more of. Like,
yes.
I didn't realize how I knew I was a windbag, but oh my goodness. When people narrate to me now, yes. I want to slap somebody.
Yes.
Like, oh goodness. I looked at somebody the other day, I was like, stop telling me stories. Tell me what you think about fucking anything.
Yes. It's like, it gets to the point to where, is there any genuineness about you whatsoever? Or are you going to sit here and use your material on me the entire fucking time?
Like, I missed page 2 of your resume. Can you go back and repeat page 2 of your resume, please?
Yeah, dude, it gets nuts. It gets
I think
crazy.
that goes better with the IPA I ordered.
Like, even though I love some of the comics around here in Mobile, I love the comedy scene in Mobile. To me is real alternative, and it really prepares me for the different type of weird shit that I'm gonna have to get into when I know I really take this journey and have to go on the road and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Not only is the crowd alternative, but the fucking comics are alternative. I never considered myself a social guy, really. But then once I actually took those steps through the Blind Mule and actually talked to a couple of the comics, I'm like, holy shit! I'm like Jagger compared to these motherfuckers. Like some of them, and I love some of my comments to death, but like seriously, you have to stop some of them. You have to stop some of them mid-conversation. Like, look, I'm walking away. I'm going away. Stop pulling me back in and talk about another bit. I'm going away now.
Oh goodness. I've met some not so savvy people in public. I mean, I remember I stopped and explained gestures and body language. Like, this lady didn't get it, and so I stopped her and I said, okay, see how my shoulders are oriented towards you right now?
Yes.
And we went through the whole thing of my hips, my steps are moving away from you. Like, these are all indications.
These are body language. This is body language indicating that I am walking away from you. And like, you have it so hard. Like, Pensacola, as much as I love my Pensacola fam, y'all got it so fucking hard. Because like, y'all got the military. Even though Pensacola is like a military town, it's a military and completely ass backwards white folks town. Like, I shit you not. I shit you not, Joe. The first set I've ever did, like, in Pensacola, I literally watched a guy throw up on the bar and argue to a lady about her being pregnant. I shit you not. Like, it was so fucked up.
Pensacola!
Like, I was like, Pensacola, I love Pensacola so much. Like, shout out to Graham. Shout out to Tony Brickhead. Shout out to Ryan Pfeiffer. Dude. Those guys are really funny. Like, they really hold it. And Olivia, seriously, she's funny as shit too.
Yes, she is.
And like, they basically warned me at first. They were like, "All right, Gavin, before you go up on the stage, just chill with the white folks jokes a little." Then Ryan, even he came to me. Like, at first, when I first met Ryan, I could tell he had this look like, no, he's going to get torn apart. When I went out there and I did my set, I did relatively well. And then I came out talking to Ryan. He said, yeah, you're going to do all right. You're going to do all right, man. You just got to make sure that, you just address the crowd, really. And, like, I learned from Ryan, like, you really have to learn how to read a crowd. Mm-hmm. And you got to learn how to use what you got to make them laugh. Like, you have to use your material to go fishing and find that thing that reels the fish in. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And like, that's what I love about Pensacola fam. They're like, I thought Mobile was alternative. Those guys are just weird as fuck. Like, it's just weird as fuck.
I feel like I fit in just as much.
Toya Free. Oh my god, that's a funny ass grown lady.
Do we need to get them back here in the back seat?
If you want to.
I'd have to clean out the back seat.
Well, if you got weed, she has this thing as well.
She has this thing. We just can't do that on
Facebook. Yeah, true. Yeah. God Damn you, Mark Zuckerberg!
Oh, no. Ooh, speaking of which, with
him giving away your information?
Yeah, did you hear about all that?
Oh my god, you guys didn't know that?
New. Oh, come on.
Niggas
you know what I'm talking
knew that.
about.
We were getting arrested on fucking Facebook. We knew that shit.
But you know what I'm talking about. They're coming after him. Like, did you see the stock tanking?
Yeah.
After the analytical thing, the Cambridge Analytics?
Okay, listen.
But he got called up in front of Parliament. That was the unique thing to me.
Yeah.
Like, Parliament don't go fucking around.
No. If you get called up by Parliament, that basically means that they're saying, okay, even though you got some privileges, you're abusing them, motherfuckers.
Right.
Like, we need to talk to you. All right, we need to talk to you. You're using your privileges that don't help other whites. Now you need...
Yeah. Like, the only thing worse than a come to Jesus meeting is a come to Queenie
Parliament
meeting.
Oh, God. Oh, God. You see those powder white-wigged fucks? They're coming after you. They're coming after you.
When all you can do is cough and sneeze, it's just powder in the air. And it's like, ooh.
Fifth. Like that. What was that? I played the fifth. You see how no nigga ever came to Parliament and made it back out alive, man. Like, that's what it got.
Happened.
You never seen it. If OJ would have had to do his trial at Parliament, that nigga would be dead. If the glove don't fit, no, OJ. No.
That interview
OJ.
that they released that just came out, like,
Yo,
that would have been
OJ
behind bars, the
confession.
confession.
Would have been behind bars getting butt fucked by some...
You know, I'll be honest.
By some Mike Tyson looking motherfucker. I swear to God, you're gonna be my wife. I'm gonna kiss you tenderly. Put this Kool-Aid on your lips.
Tell me how tight that glove was.
put this Kool-Aid on your lips. Hold my pocket. Hold my pocket. Because booty is life. Oh my God. Yeah, dude.
Goodness.
You ain't never seen a nigga go into Parliament and make it out alive like that shit. Nah, man.
Oh man, I can remember. I was at W.P. Davidson High School the day of the OJ verdict.
I don't even remember it.
It was a half day. We didn't do shit.
Hey,
after
you
that.
guys, get home before the blacks get out. Go. Because for me, the whole thing, like, okay, for all the white people on Facebook, we know he did it. We just wanted at least one win. We wanted at least one win. Like, we already saw the Rodney King situation.
A black win in a white court.
We
That's all we wanted.
We wanted to at least know, do we have a 1% chance of getting out some shit?
Right.
And once OJ made it, we said, oh, thank you, Jesus. Like, it was a time in America when we were just taking L after L after L with the social justice system, with the government, with every aspect of black life. It seemed as if everything was stacked against us. But then we got this premier athlete being accused of a crime.
Right.
And basically, he swindled the fuck out of the black community.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, he tried to win us over to his side, and we said, we ain't got shit else to root for right now. The Cubs ain't gonna fucking make it. Like, we need a win.
Well, and you had O.J. Simpson, the Juice, versus third string public attorneys.
Yeah.
So if he'd have lost, if the black community had
Yeah.
lost to third string
If we had lost
attorneys,
to the third string,
we quit.
we would have just rioted all across the nation, bro.
We're not playing anymore.
Exactly.
Route.
Because white folks get scared when anything brown gets mad. Like, that is just...
Even the toilet.
Even the toilet. Like, dude, like, yo, we just wanted to win. And we knew OJ could be that win.
Right.
But
Just a
here's where he
figurehead.
really fucked up. When he said, I'm not black, I'm OJ.
Yeah.
When he said that
Oh,
shit...
I'd forgotten about that.
He said that shit... That's when it went right down the tank. Like, I know the FX story, with Cuba Gooding Jr., he plays as OJ. And, like, it shows, like, at the very end of the season that even though he won, they showed them, like, at this big party at his house, all of his real friends disowned him. His family wasn't really fucking with him. Listen, it did not happen back then. it happened right after he got on television said, "I'm not black, I'm OJ." Every nigga in that room stopped fucking with him.
We're like, oh, really?
Oh,
see how that?
Oh, so you're not black? Cool, OJ. Alright. That is all good. You are not about to get a dime out of us because that's where most of your money was coming from, motherfucker. Oh. We was buying all your merch, buying all your jerseys, buying all of your Game Time videos. Now you ain't got shit because white folk, you already murdered one of the white folks, so ain't none of them gonna fuck with you.
You murdered both of your bases.
You just killed both of your chances. Like, you see, this man had to go and steal back some of his own merch. You see this shit, right?
He got busted in a Las Vegas hotel room trying to steal back his own merchandise
shit
that he got sold on Amazon or something.
Yes, that's how you know niggas ain't fucking with you.
Yeah. I can't even imagine a life where it comes to, all right, guys, I got my memorabilia got underbid. We're going to go to Vegas. We're going to armed robbery.
We're going to try to steal back our shit.
Yeah, just think of it like it's a train. Like, how dumb does that story? I can't even pretend.
Here's the thing. I really hope that when they caught him, that they found a glove. like he said,
like he wanted them to find it.
Yeah, like he wanted, like I gotta spark it up again.
He planted his own glove.
And then you see the guy who was about to help him. Like, I feel like he had a sidekick that was about to help
semen
him.
on him. You're like, why is there?
And he was trying to rationalize all of this. And you just see OJ sitting there. He says, "What are you doing, OJ? Why are you putting on a glove?" "But it doesn't fit. Why are you trying to put on a glove that's not trying to fit, OJ?" I said, "I need a new career." He's trying to shove it on his head. A lot of black folks gonna think I'm wrong for making fun of OJ like that, but fuck him. Ever since he said I'm not black, I'm OJ.
Yeah, man. Ever since the Dave Chappelle, the third time I saw the 3 times I saw OJ, and the third time, like, no, my reputation can't survive.
My reputation can't take this hit. My reputation can't take this hit.
It was him and Eddie Griffin.
Oh my god! I want to ask you a question. All right, now you're pretty. Like, I love your comedy for the fact that no matter what kind of set you do, I always learn something after you fucking do a set.
I'm a huge dork.
I always learn something after you do it. I feel like you're a Bill Nye of comedy. You're kind of like a Bill Nye of comedy, as if you're way more political and philosophical. Like, and you seem like a pretty woke white boy. So I wanted to ask you, like, the 3 top celebrities. Mm-hmm. Your 3 top black comics. Mm-hmm. What are your top 3? And why would you want to meet them?
We could talk about Pryor all day long.
Besides Pryor, he's just everybody. He's everybody.
But
he's a god of comedy.
Yeah, and so that's a must, because his relationship with Gene Wilder, his experiences, the ability that someone like him has to be so much larger than life because all he's doing is being himself. Like, that is an awesome fucking thing.
Yeah.
So I would want to hear that story. Anybody you can put in that same category, I want to hear that story. Now, after that, where would I go? Red Fox is a must.
Yeah, dude, Red Fox.
And then,
he was just a pioneer, man.
Yeah, he was. And then there are lots. I came up with a few of the very famous, notable names that obviously be very influential in my life, since they were, my contemporaries.
Yeah.
They were doing their thing while I was watching. Not that I knew what the fuck I was watching. Sorry, just realized that YouTube wasn't recording. They might have missed that. Hey, YouTube, if you don't know what we're talking about, go back and listen to the podcast. We were getting into it. I forgot to push a button. So, Elephant in the Room, Patrice O'Neal, what year did that come out?
I forgot. I think that was like 2007?
Wow. So, I was still not woke.
Yeah.
I was still not utterly enlightened. I didn't
really?
Well,
I feel like you was one of those. common folks that been woke since she came out the womb. Like,
in different ways. Like, from the perspective of performing stand-up comedy, that's all new to me. I've only been doing this for about 8 months. A little less than a year.
Really?
Yeah, but being a public
You've been doing this for like 3 or 4 years.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But being a public speaker, I've done for a while. It kind of plays into some of the things that I'm good at. I've always been a philosopher, and I definitely fall somewhere on the spectrum, and had a bunch of people around me as a child who cared very much and tried very hard, but didn't know what the fuck they were talking about.
See, I've always wondered what the life of a philosopher would be. Because I always wondered, how the fuck did you guys make money?
You don't.
Nah. And that's one of the most respectable things about a philosopher, because like, even though you don't make money, but what you earn here is priceless.
But that's what this is sitting around and discussing, discussing hypotheses and talking about how we came to understand what we understand. That's kind of one of the subtexts of what Truth, Love, and Peace is. It's part of a big theory that I wrote once upon a time. So, not too woke, just woke enough. But in 2007, I was still doing undergrad. I had just gone back to school.
Nice.
For my undergrad. So I would have heard Patrice on XM, communication theory.
Nice. I was a communications minor.
Hell yeah.
TV and news writing.
You realized how insignificant that was then.
Oh, God. If I could go back, I would have just went and, like, fucking went to Huntington and learned how to work in a factory or some shit.
Oh, man. I went on to grad school and studied rhetorical studies. The philosophy of communication is what I call it. Rhetoric.
Jesus Christ.
All day long. You can call me Compton. I only look like white Jesus.
Oh, God. To me, you always look like if Jesus became a science teacher. Like that.
Jesus became a science teacher.
And Russ always looked... To me, Russ is like the most accurate depiction of Jesus, because he was short.
Yeah.
Like, he's got the Jesus... Like, if anything,
he should have... thickness.
If anything, Russ should have been on The Passion. Like, that's what... Not to say to kill you, Russell. Russell Douglas, love you to death, man. But if anything, Russ should have been on The Passion of the Christ.
I can get behind that.
Because the camera adds a little bit of a brown tint to people, and he would have been the perfect, nice little... You'd have thought Russell is like... I think he's a purebred white. Ain't he?
He definitely looks it. He definitely looks it. But I've only ever seen him at night in a dark bar.
Yeah. Like, I think he's just a purebred white. But I feel like he would have given off that exotic vibe to where everybody was like, "Oh, Jesus was Middle Eastern." Well, he was. Well, he was there at the time.
See, Russell has the curly hair. I have the long, straight hair. I'm a lot more like
your Hallmark Jesus.
Wizard. No, I'm not really that Jesus.
No, not Hallmark.
I'm way more wizard, like old Chinaman, thin beard.
I feel like if anything, you would probably be like Gandalf's cousin. Or some shit like that. Like, you'd be Gandalf's cousin, and he would come to you, and you would be the guy that would be smoking the crystals and the mushrooms in the woods.
Right.
And talking about philosophy and learning how to manipulate the trees.
Right. I'm Gandalf's hookup.
True.
I'm the cousin that Gandalf comes to for special tricks.
Also,
where do you think he got all those fireworks?
Exactly.
The pyrotechnics.
Exactly. Here goes the thing. And also, I never fucked with Lord of the Rings or Hogwarts or that entire universe. And if anybody's listening and we're friends, I'm sorry. Fuck Hogwarts and fuck Lord of the Rings. I'm sorry. I can't dig it. I can't dig it. My mom tried to make me read like the Harry Potter series at first. I read 2 pages and put it down. Because for me, I can literally tell from the first 2 pages, ain't not a lick of nigga gonna be on this book. Gonna be on this book.
Where are the black people in Middle Earth?
That's the thing I'm trying to figure out.
Ooh, I feel really guilty for not noticing this until now.
Exactly.
But I'm glad I caught it. I don't remember.
All these mystical elves that can use bows, arrows, and spears, not one of them look like a black person. But, all right. You want to steal? You want to steal the weapons and the culture, but you don't want to use the people.
I think that's a swing and a miss. Speaking of weapons and culture, ruin Black Panther for me. I haven't
Ruined
seen
Black
it yet.
Panther for you?
I haven't seen it yet. Tell me all about it.
I feel like Black Panther was dope as shit.
Yeah?
Yeah, Black Panther
There's a
was
good
actually
chance I'm not going to get to see it. So for me who may not get to see it in theaters,
right,
and for people that kind of want to hear.
One, you lucked out. Because I didn't go see Black Panther just as a black person. I went to go see it as a nerd. Because Black Panther is in my top 5 upper echelon superheroes. Like, that's like, I was following Black Panther before it was even thought of to become a movie. So first of all, good job, Marvel. You portrayed each character right. Besides Killmonger. Alright, Killmonger, probably the main villain and probably one of the greatest villains of the Marvel Universe that they have so far. Because in the Marvel Universe, most of their villains are kind of like lackluster. Like, the only one that was really noticeable was Loki. And ask anybody to name any other villain on the Marvel Universe, like, say, the Avengers, or Iron Man 3, or Iron Man 2. Can't name a goddamn one. But you know who Eric Killmonger is. Like, they portrayed him so well, and I love the way that Michael B. Jordan did him, because he personified really, to me, that black anger. Like the anger in which most African Americans feel on the day-to-day basis because they lost someone due to like a social injustice or something like that. Like, but if you really want me to, do you want me to break down the movie for you? No, or do you want me to like philosophically look into it and tell you each aspect that I found within it?
Well, I'll tell you the follow-up question to this is going to be, what do you think about the history that's coming out of South Africa that points to, for example, the stone structures in places like Great Zimbabwe that puts history in South Africa to the tune of 250 to 300,000 years old? So that's going to be the follow-up question to this. So extrapolate as much as you need be.
Okay, so for me, the correlation between the two is that Black Panther really personifies and destroys the stereotypes that most white people have about Africa. Like, whenever you ask an average American, like, what do you think? Like, not even what you think. You hold up 2 pictures of what they think Africa looks like. There are a majority of the cities in Africa kind of look like overblown New Yorks. Like, they're very modern and they're very advanced. But then you show them like a picture of a starving kid with a piece of bread on his belly. Like, he can't eat it because he's too mountaineerish to fucking reach for it. Like, if you say, where's this? They would say, oh, that's Africa. Where's this? Oh, that's like, is that Japan? Denmark? No, same fucking place.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that Black Panther completely destroys that stereotype. Now, what it leads into, for me, is people actually taking a look and glance into the appropriation that white people have had in Africa. Because if you really look at it, Black Panther is an example of what an African city would be like if it wasn't influenced by another culture.
Gotcha.
And you see the potential within that and how it is able to grow and become better. But for me, if you really dig into the history of Africa and you dig into the appropriation and the pillaging and like all of the different cultures that influenced it, and how America is literally still stealing from it, and how, to me, this is the thing that surprises me about most Americans, is that when you think of a South African, they literally think that it's a white person.
What?
South Africans look white.
Who are
that? Is the most ass-backwards shit I've ever met in my life.
You don't have to convince me people are dumb, I believe.
That is the most ass-backwards shit I've ever heard in my life. And it baffles me how white people are able to go into another country that wasn't originally theirs.
Yeah.
Completely cut themselves off. Basically create apartheid. And say the originals can't be in the land where they were in the first fucking place.
Yeah, like colonial. How did anyone ever know colonialism? Sure, I buy that.
People glazed over that shit way too fast for me.
Yeah.
I said, that shit is amazing. But anyway, I feel like Africa is that nation that is very rich in elements, technology. Like, it's downplayed to the point to where people sleep on how intelligent and how wonderful that nation actually is. Like, they always think that it's a starving shithole or something like that. No, it's not anything like that. The people that come, some of the best people that I've ever met in my life, hands down. I went to HBCU. And,
that is?
A historically black college and university. That's what a lot of white people don't know. All right, and HBCU is basically a school that's predominantly black. Like basically 98% of the school is black.
So like Tuskegee would be...
It's a HBCU, a historically black college university, because it was started by African Americans because they weren't allowed to go to PWIs.
Got it.
And you could really tell if an HBCU is a true South HBCU because the basis of the school is either based in education, agriculture and mechanics, or something that deals in the mathematics or scientific world. Because that was all that we had, and that's all that we were educated in. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I'm getting too deep into that.
Let's put a pin in that and promise me you'll come back and we can discuss that. We can extrapolate on that because I want to get your opinion on George Washington Carver and the paradigm shift in there. I'd love to hear your perspective on that.
You definitely will.
Yeah, so, okay. Cool. So, awesome. So you were saying HBCUs.
I went to an HBCU. And basically, HBCU, my school, Alabama State University, they started to implement this foreign exchange program where they would take African Americans, send them off to different colleges in Africa, and take college kids from Africa and bring them here to America to get different perspectives and to get a different form of education. So we really learn about each other. And I really see, like within the African culture, there are a lot of good influences and a lot of good things that come out of Africa that Western society just does not know.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they have a completely... All right, here's the first example for me that really stuck with me. They have a very, very different outlook when it comes to civil responsibility. And what I mean by civil responsibility is their gun control laws, their education laws, and laws that come into place whenever it comes to the public. Like in certain parts of Africa, yes, guns are outlawed. And in some parts of the country, guns are actually given to citizens. But they've had like the least amount of shootings in the country because they adopt this ideal that is a civil responsibility to look out for each other and not to just look at each other as in, oh, I have a gun because it's a robber. No, I have the gun for protection. And they also implement different laws in place that reduce their to reduce their greenhouse effects. Like they've outlawed cars in some countries where you can only use eco-friendly cars and they're at a cheap price.
Cool.
And they've built the cities in some of these and they built some of the cities so close together to where you don't really have to drive to where you want to get to where you want to get. You can either walk or just simply jog or take a bike. Yeah. And public transportation is free. So you don't have to worry about spending cash just so you can get from place to place. Like they have the citizens more intact there. And that's what I really wish that they adopted here. But it's not built that way. Like if you look in America, most cities are built to where you in the South where you have to get a car just to get from place to place. Yeah. And it's spread out, but it's only spread out that way.
That's interesting.
It's only spread out that way because if you really want me to get into it, car dealers, the car dealership, General Ford, they have their pockets in every single city in America.
Sure.
Because when it first started, they wanted to say, hey, we want to sell our cars and we want to be funded by the government. So the government saw it as a win-win to where they're able to sell cars to the public and they're able to make money off of it at the same time. So they basically got together with civil engineers and said, how can we construct our cities to be better, but keep in mind that we want people to drive to where they need to get. So they created downtowns that way. Anything fun and touristy would be downtown. That way they could walk from place to place. But if you need to get to a hospital, you have to drive miles away.
The beginnings of the suburb.
Yeah,
concept.
if you really want to get to a certain type of mall that sells different products, you have to be able to drive. And they could segregate it and regulate it how they wanted to.
Yeah, and I was thinking of it from not even from a segregation regulation standpoint, which those are both good points, but even more fundamentally, by imposing the concept of individualism and by elevating the standard of the individual above the community, you are you are doing exactly what Black Mirror is showing everyone, and what social media is showing everyone to do, this alone together phenomenon, where you are enabling people to regulate themselves and monitor themselves, just like 1984, just because you are creating a circumstance in which isolationism becomes the fallback, or it becomes the defensive side of the aggressive side of independence.
Yeah. And even the big example here in Mobile, like, if you really got the attitude of any citizen, of any Mobilian, is every man for themselves if you really get down and dirty with it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what having your own car, having your own home, it forces people to be that way.
Yeah.
As opposed to being like, look at countries that like, I think China, when they all cram into the subway, but they are so respectful of each other's space. Yeah. Like, uber respectful, but they're suffering with each other.
Have you looked how Japanese schools regulate their cafeterias?
Oh, dude, amazing.
They fix their own lunches, fresh from scratch, from organic vegetables.
And the kids.
They make the kids deal it out to themselves.
So good.
They deal it out to themselves because it teaches them humbleness.
Yeah.
It teaches them how to be humble. You would not... A fucking Brett would not have not have made it. Like in Japan.
Brett.
A fucking Brett or Blaze. Any one of those little fucking douchebags.
Todd.
They would have... Oh, Todd.
Carlin.
Oh, God. Fucking Todd. They would not have made that. They're teaching their kids how to be humble and to respect each other and wash their dishes and learn civil responsibility, that it's not just about you.
Community.
Everybody else has to use this space, and everybody else has to use it.
Right, like bathrooms. Way cleaner over there.
Dude,
over here, it's like, I'm not have to clean it up.
I'm drunk, and I can't hold my wiener. I'm just going to pee everywhere. Dude, I have not sat on a single toilet downtown in Mobile, dude.
I wouldn't.
Dude, no, I feel like as soon as I sit my butt on a toilet, AIDS. Like right there and there.
Dude, I got toilet AIDS.
I got toilet AIDS.
I got toilet AIDS.
Like, I feel like I got that kind of luck. I go to the doctor, go like, doctor, my butthole hurts like a little too much. He said, well, you're not homosexual. Well, let's see what's going on. They take a blood test. You have a rare form of butt AIDS.
Yeah, you got toilet AIDS. Hepatitis C and AIDS.
It's real rampant around Mobile for some reason. And you need to lose weight. I told you that before, but...
Mobile Bay sickness.
Oh, God.
Also known as Hepa AIDS.
Those bayou crabs. They call them crawdaddies.
Oh, man. Just don't eat the heads.
Yeah, that's what I think about.
Suck the heads.
I feel like Black Panther has shined a light and kind of destroy some of those stereotypes that you have about Africans and African American culture.
That's awesome. I think that's even better now, and fabulous historical archaeological discoveries that are coming out.
Yeah, a lot of people don't even understand the concept of Pangea. Like you know Pangea.
Oh yeah,
right? Like a lot of people don't understand.
Go there.
Like why? Okay, a lot of people don't understand why Africa is being shown as a poor country, why some of the poorest countries are like in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
It's because white people won't stop stealing shit from there. You don't become poor just by being born. That's the shit. Like even me as a kid, when I would go on BT and I see the in the arms, like you see these little starving kids with this fat-titted white lady, and she's just. Can you help feed the gun? Can you help feed Nagano? You can feed her with you idiot.
Right.
Can you help feed little Nagano? And my thing is, okay, I see that they're starving. I went into why are they starving?
Yeah.
And you come to find out that tribe they were filming, that was a blood diamond. That was a blood diamond tribe.
Yeah.
And you find out, why do blood diamonds exist? Because white folks in America think diamonds are rare and special, when they're not. Why is that? Because a certain type of company created ad campaigns in America that basically said that if you don't use diamonds to marry your wife, then she will not love you.
They're special. They're special.
And back then, the only thing white people loved was money, land, and pussy. And they were not going to lose any one of those three.
There you go. And so somebody found a way to be a middleman.
Exactly.
And that goes to, like, we can talk about universal basic income. That goes to a lot of different places. But history is one that I'm most interested in, you know, going way, way back into... a lot of people aren't aware that the jury is still out, and there are really good hypotheses being tested right now that the entirety of the Sahara Desert was a thriving, lush jungle 25,000 years ago.
I would not put it past it.
Like, hardly a blink ago. The just wholly different thing. Which means that what we know of the history in that area just really falls short. Really, really falls short. I guess this leads us into a whole other conversation that we probably should hold until after we go sign this list and whatnot.
Part 2.
So get the plugs in there. Send everybody where they need to go. Where are we? We're at the Blind Mule on...
We're at the Blind Mule
Wednesdays.
every Wednesday night from 9 o'clock until. Sign-ups at 8:30. Downtown Mobile, Blind Mule. We're at Tuesday nights for open mic night in Pensacola at the Back Porch Bar and Grill with my man Captain. Every night starting from 9 o'clock until. Sign-ups at 8:30.
And Back Porch Comedy hosts that, and they also host the showcase on Friday nights in the same place at Back Porch in Pensacola. Paula Fox and Cervantes. Yep. Governor hosts this open mic that we're at tonight at the Merry Widow. And
those always start from 7 o'clock. Sign-ups at 6:30 up until.
Yeah.
We've been missed that list to sign the fuck up, so we're going to be like dead ass last. But hey, save the best for last.
From the looks of it, it's going to be in our favor.
Yeah. Let's save the best for last. Fuck it. Who cares?
Oh, goodness. Look at how shiny my forehead is. I should not do that.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
I cut all my hair off, so my head definitely looks shiny.
Is there anything that I have missed or not thought about?
No, check us out sometimes on Blind Mule. Check out the Blind Mule Facebook so you get an update on some of the shows that we may pull up on Friday or Saturday. Sometimes we bring in comics from out of town, and the only charge is like $5 or $10. And sometimes we have different rock bands that come out after the show. Wednesday nights on the Blind Mule, I know they had Satan and the Sabbath, and I know Merry Widow has a couple of bands performing like after open mic nights on Sundays. I know they had the Wild Mohicans. Those guys were fucking dope. Those guys
I missed
were dope.
that show. I had to take off. Was it
they
good?
were dope. It were good. Me and Ryan Adams stayed behind. I've never been happier to be the token. Like, be the token. Like, I never knew who these crackers were, but they were pretty goddamn good. And I was playing the ring game.
Yeah.
And, like, the lead singer shares the camera to me, and I sunk it. She said, "Hey, good job, man." I said, "Thank you. I don't know if you're important, but thank you." Like, and then she got up there and started singing. I said, "Oh, that's the lead singer." Got ya. I'm important.
Win.
And the bass and the drummer and the lead guitarist, they all watched my show, laughed throughout the entire thing.
That's right. They were hanging out. They were cool.
Yep, they were pretty cool. So check us out at the Merry Widow. Check us out at the Blind Mule. Sundays, Wednesdays, Saturdays. Mobile Comedy. We own. Oh, and we're about to start comedy open mic nights on Thursday nights, starting next week, at the Tinderbox.
Is it going to be Thursdays?
Yeah, it's going to be Thursdays.
So we've moved it to Thursdays. Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be Thursdays. But check out the Tinderbox or check out Zeke Buckholtz. Check out his Facebook or Comedy Whatever, Mobile, Alabama on Facebook, so you get updates on the different things that we're doing in Mobile in terms of comedy.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Cool. Until next time, ladles and jelly spoons. Thanks for joining us. Truth, love, and
holla, nigga.
peace.